Hey guys, thanks so much for sitting in on this meeting today. Today I'm going to discuss what I've been working on for my master's program at Arkansas State University, specifically a project for collaboration. And today I'm going to discuss how we collaborate here at Decatur Public Schools, more specifically Davis Elementary. So Decatur Public Schools, here are some facts. It's located in Decatur, Michigan. We currently have two schools in the district, Davis Elementary, which serves our K-5, and Decatur Junior Senior High School, which serves 612. We've currently got around 836 students in the district. In 2015, our graduation rate was 88.6%. We currently have 22 students at Davis with IEPs and 56 students at the junior senior high with IEPs. So I wanted to discuss Davis Elementary and specifically how we collaborate here at our school. So in my own words, collaboration is a group of individuals who come together for a common purpose with a common goal. So some teams that we have that collaborate here at Davis are our student assistant teams, or our SAT teams, our grade level teams, our curriculum teams, our IEP teams, and our school improvement teams. So the first one I wanted to talk about was our student assistant team, or our SAT teams. So some SAT team members are our principal, our special ed teachers, our SPED supervisor, our reading interventionist, any related services staff members, so our social worker, our speech therapist, psychologist, and occupational therapist. What we do at these meetings are discuss current students who have IEPs and the progress being made. We discuss any interventions that are being used, both academically and behaviorally, and we discuss plans of actions and ways we can assist these students if needed. We also schedule upcoming IEPs so that all of us team members know and are aware of these and we can attend. And we also discuss students who are not special ed but may be on the watch list and discuss RTI. Another team that we have at Davis Elementary are our grade level teams. So at grade level meetings, we discuss students and place students in appropriate interventions. We reconvene twice a week to see how those interventions are going. We discuss any student behavior and academic progress for those students. We analyze student data, whether it be reading, math, or even behavior. We create action plans for students, and then each team member discusses their roles. And again, like I said earlier, these meetings are held bi-weekly. Another team that we have at Decatur Public Schools, or Davis specifically, are our curriculum teams. These curriculum teams identify appropriate Common Core state standards to address the areas of reading and math across the grade levels. We use appropriate research-based programs to drive instruction that reach the most important standards that we're working on. We explore our content areas, so whatever we teach, we dig deeper into that. And we kind of share and collaborate, share those, the information across different grade levels. So for example, if a third grade teacher might collaborate with a fourth grade teacher on certain math standards that they're working on. Another team that we have at Davis is our IEP team. So those typically consist of the special ed teacher, principal, and our SPED supervisor. So what we do is we schedule IEPs, we create and implement IEPs, we ensure that the IEP is being carried out with fidelity, and like I said, it usually consists of these people, so the principal, the school psychologist, if they're being reevaluated or initial evaluations, the SPED supervisor, and then any related service member, that, of course, the gen ed teacher, and then any related service member, whether that be the PT, the OT, the speech therapist, or the social worker, depending on those specific services that those students are getting. Another team that I'm not a part of, but here at Davis, is the school improvement team. So these are made up of various teachers across different grade levels, as well as the principal. They discuss schools' concerns and issues. They develop plans or areas that we need to work on and try to improve those. I know they send a lot of surveys home for parents to fill out in ways we can improve our school. They lead the school-wide action plans, and they monitor the effectiveness of these action plans as well. So we do have co-teaching here at Davis Elementary. It is mostly in the 4-5 grade levels. It's not used for the K-3 currently, and it is used for reading and math right now. So the special education teacher and gen ed teacher team teach these subjects. Typically, the SPED teacher will pull the students for small groups. A lot of times they'll use the different co-teaching models, and then a lot of times the special ed teacher will test those students in small groups, as well as monitor their progress on IEPs. And then the SPED teacher is also responsible for informing those teachers of the accommodations and putting those plans into place. So we also have different parapros here at our school. So right now we currently have 4 parapros at Davis. Right now one of them is being used in our self-contained CI classroom. She's there all day. We also have 2 different parapros who work with grades K-3, and a lot of times they're leading Tier 2 and Tier 3 reading interventions, whether it be corrective reading, reading mastery, fast forward, so a little bit of direct instruction and a little bit of computer-based instructions. And then they're also giving different kinds of sensory breaks to the kindergarten students throughout the day. And then we also have another parapro who strictly works with grades 4 and 5, and then she also is working with Tier 2 and Tier 3 reading interventions, so things like corrective reading, phonics for reading, fast forward, and then she's also pushing in for 4th grade and 5th grade social studies, and then she also pulls out for small group testing if needed. The parapros are responsible for creating their own plans, so their own lesson plans, and then using research-based interventions in their Tier 2 and Tier 3 instruction. Okay, so let's dive into the referral, evaluation, and placing students for special education services. So typically, if a gen ed teacher feels that the student is struggling, they'll bring it up to our SPED supervisor or our principal, and we'll talk about those at our SAT meetings and see kind of where to go from there. We'll discuss interventions, so you implement RTI. If we believe that a student is not responding to RTI, the school psychologist will hold a read, so they'll look at the existing data of that student. If we feel that there's enough evidence that there could be a learning disability or cognitive impairment, with parent consent, the school psychologist will move forward with testing. If we don't have enough data to support this, then they'll continue to implement RTI services that are needed for the student. And if the team does decide to go ahead with testing and if the student qualifies for special ed, the psychologist will inform the appropriate SPED teachers at the appropriate grade levels to determine the most appropriate special ed placement. So since I do typically K-3, if a student qualifies for a learning disability in K-3, then they will be added to my caseload. And then that's if a gen ed teacher brings it up. If a SPED teacher if a parent brings it up, the school psychologist, whether or not if a parent requests it, we have 30 days to either review the child's data and go ahead with testing. Once this data is reviewed, the psychologist and the parent will decide whether or not to continue and move forward with the testing. All right, so some roles of the individuals. So the gen ed teacher, they can refer for special education if they feel that that student may benefit or they feel that that student needs to be evaluated. And then if that student qualifies, they should follow the IEP and accommodations when that student is in their class at the gen ed setting. The SPED teacher collaborates with the gen ed teacher to set goals and develop and or implement the IEP. The building administrator ensures that parents understand the legal process, the law, the child's special education rights. The parent is an active member as well, so they're informed of their rights, informed of the IEP, and they're also active members in that IEP and on that team. Okay, so some community-based service providers that our school has are, or that we can provide to different parents are our family counseling, which is our CMH, Community Mental Health, our MRS, which stands for Michigan Rehabilitative Services. Our related service provider is the Van Buren Intermediate School District. And then we've got a parent advocacy support group that's called our PAC committee, or our Parent Advisory Committee. And then we also have our early childhood special ed services is provided at the Van Buren Intermediate School District, and that's called the Early On. All right, so let's talk about our mental health provider. This mental health provider is called CMH, Community Mental Health. It's located, and here's all the contact information. So it's in Hartford, Michigan. It's our phone number. The contact person I use is Tammy Webster. Here's her email address, and here's the site information. What CMH does is it provides services and treatment options for trauma patients, crisis interventions, and assessments for students of all ages. The treatment options help to prevent mental health functioning, and with interventions and different kinds of therapy options. So I have many students right now that are currently utilizing their CMH and have CMH caseworkers. Another service that we offer here is called MRS, which is Michigan Rehabilitative Services. The main person is Jill Murphy, and that's located out of Kalamazoo, Michigan. And here's our website. Here's the website for that, and it provides employment and job training skills for teenagers and adults with disabilities. It works with colleges and different kind of training programs, so like LAD or our tech programs, and allows for transitions for students into employment opportunities. Another service that we use at Decatur Public Schools is which is our related service provider. So it's provided by the Van Buren Intermediate School District, and we have a physical therapist, an occupational therapist, a social worker, a behavior interventionist, and a school psychologist. And a lot of times they're here about 2 or 3 days a week. And that is out of Lawrence, Michigan. The Van Buren ISD is out of Lawrence, Michigan. Here's the email address, the website, and it is what our school contracts through. So if a child qualifies for special education services and they have a related service, then that will be documented on their IEP, and that person will meet with them either directly or indirectly, as depending on what is noted on their IEP. Another organization that we utilize here at Decatur is the PAC committee, and that stands for the Parent Advisory Committee, And the head of it is actually our SPED supervisor here at Decatur, or Davis Elementary specifically. Her name is Kathy Morton. Most of you know her already. She's the person we go to for our concerns and SPED issues. And it is a committee that provides services and resources for parents who have students with disabilities. They kind of go over different strategies, coping mechanisms, where to find resources and things of that nature. And then the last organization we use is the Early On Care, which is again provided through the Van Buren Intermediate School District, which is where we use our related service members from. And here's our website. And Early On Care it consists of prenatal care to ages 8 years old. There are several programs that offer free preschool. There's a Great Start Parent Coalition and Family Links. They provide home visits, prenatal, postnatal care, and vision and hearing tests, and these services are free of charge. And that is it. So I appreciate you guys all sitting through this and bearing with me, and thank you so much. And this is a project that I'm working on for my grad school at Arkansas State. So thanks. See you guys later.